Today's topic has to do with covert triangulation. I know there was a time in my life where if somebody had told me, Michelle, you are being triangulated to not be close to this person, or you're being triangulated with that person, I would have had a hard time believing it. Because even though I had an idea of what triangulation was, I would have noticed overt triangulation. Triangulation that's done very insidiously, very obviously. But covert triangulation, it flies under the radar. It's done in such a way that you don't even realize it's being done. And that's why I wanted to make this video. I want to show you guys 3 different areas in a person's life where toxic people, people that like to manipulate, where they often use covert triangulation. And most importantly, if you feel like this information resonates with you, at the end of the video, I always leave tips on how to handle it or how to break out of that covert triangulation if you feel like you're in it at this moment. Okay, so with that in mind, let's get started. So I know a lot of people already know what triangulation is, but just a really quick summary, you think of a triangle with one angle by itself and 2 opposing angles on the other side. Well, toxic people like to be that one that's in the middle of 2 different people. They like to divide and conquer. They like to be the kind of person that everyone has to communicate through them and not with each other. And the whole goal is to be able to manipulate everyone's perception of each other. If the toxic person can do that, then they have control over the truth. They have control over who communicates with who. And so it's a divide and conquer strategy that they really love. Okay, so the first dynamic that we're going to talk about, how malignant narcissists do this, is in the family with children. So we often know that toxic parents that manipulate have a golden child and a scapegoat. Just a quick explanation as to why they do that. Just remember, the higher up you are on the scale of narcissism, the less or more difficult it is for you to see yourself. You can't self-reflect. Without the ability to self-reflect, combined with the fact that narcissists don't have whole object relations, which means that they can't view a person as good and bad. They can't view a person as having good qualities and some negative qualities, which all of us have. We all have good qualities, we all have bad qualities, but they can't see people like that. They have very black and white thinking. When they have children, they split how they see themselves, right? Because instead of self-reflecting, they see themselves in others, which is why they're always projecting, right? So they'll take one child, the one that's the scapegoat, and that's the child that carries all of what they don't like about themselves. That's a child that has all the bad. And then they have the golden child where they project all their good qualities on that child. And that child can do no wrong, no matter how imperfect, no matter how equal the children are as far as mistakes and positive qualities and negative qualities. The malignant narcissist will only see that child as all good. So what happens is those children become triangulated with each other. The golden child is conditioned and trained to look down on the scapegoat, right? Because they're always raised up and the scapegoat is always put down by the toxic person, and the golden child begins to imitate that behavior. It becomes ingrained in them to look down on that sibling. So if this child is looking down on that child, you can only imagine what it's going to do to their relationship. So that's kind of an overt and more well-known way that narcissists triangulate. A more covert way that they do that is often when the children grow up, right? So the malignant narcissist will draw one of the children into a conversation that talks about the other child. Maybe we'll say child A and child B. So the malignant narcissist is talking to child A and he says, you know, have you ever noticed that child B is really stingy with his or her money, and you know, they're really not generous at all, and they don't like to share. I wonder why they're like that. Now, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Maybe there's a tiny truth, like maybe that child didn't want to pay for something once. And so it's a tiny bit of truth mixed in with a lot of lies. And now it's shared with the other child. And child A decides to comment back. Really, I didn't know that he or she's like that. Interesting. You know, I didn't know they were like that. So technically, child A didn't do anything wrong. They're just kind of going along with the conversation. But a malignant narcissist will then go back to child B and say, wow, your sibling said that you're stingy and, you know, you're really, you're not a generous person. And so what will happen? Now the children will wind up having bad relationships. And it gets more and more covert as the children get older, especially if they start to have a good relationship. The malignant narcissist will find ways to divide and conquer. I call them baited questions. So sometimes the malignant parent will ask a question to get you to answer and then use it to cause a problem. Or they will break confidentiality. The malignant parent will ask questions to get you to talk or reveal information about the other sibling in a way that makes you think that the parent is just caring. They just want to know because they care. The second you reveal even a tiny bit of what's going on in that other sibling's life, it will get back to that sibling, and it's all with an effort to once again divide and conquer. So that's a more covert way that they use triangulation when they want to divide siblings. In romantic relationships, okay, not every malignant narcissist cheats. I think this is something that a lot of people ask me in my face-to-face coaching. They'll be like, Michele, you know, I hear all the time about the somatic narcissist and how they cheat. Well, mine never cheated. Mine doesn't cheat. So I just want to clear up. There's no, you know, rule etched in stone that says that every malignant narcissist will cheat. But they will triangulate. Every malignant narcissist will triangulate, and they do that with a third party. So how do they do that without cheating? Oftentimes, if you're with another individual, if you're in a setting where there's another individual around of the opposite sex for your partner, the malignant narcissist will give a tremendous amount of attention to that other person. The sad thing is it's not because they're interested in that person. It's not because they want to have a relationship with that person. It's simply because they enjoy seeing the pain on your face at the amount of attention that they're giving to the other person. The platonic person that's brought into the triangulation may not even realize what's going on. They may be thirsty for attention, and they're getting some kind of a need met by the attention of your spouse. They don't even realize it's hurting you sometimes. Although I often wondered, when I was in a situation like that, I often wondered, how couldn't somebody notice? It's so obvious. How could somebody not notice? But believe it or not, a lot of people don't even realize that they're being sucked in and used as something to hurt another party. So the same splitting takes place when the malignant narcissist is doing that. They're splitting themselves right then and there again. They are putting all their good into this platonic other person that they're like putting up on a pedestal, and they're making this person feel so good. They're looking at them like they're amazing, and you are, you know, being devalued and completely ignored. And again, it can be covertly done so that nobody recognizes. Although there was a situation I was in at one time, long time ago, when I was being triangulated in this exact same way with a third party. And the third party actually said to me, Michele, I don't know what's going on. It's like there's a wall there. Every time you try to join the conversation, this person puts up a wall and doesn't let you in, and then they ignore you. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't want to exclude you. So I'm so grateful for that friend because she actually could see that it was taking place, and instead of like enjoying the attention, it made her very uncomfortable. And sure enough, she did everything she could to kind of stay away. But sadly, those kinds of friends are few and far between because most people don't even notice it. That's why I say it's covert triangulation. Triangulation with extended family members after a split. That's what we're going to talk about now. So I've seen a lot where one couple, one person married to a possible malignant narcissist, they split, right? And maybe the person, I don't want to say healthy because at that time you're anything but healthy, but the person that's not high on the scale of narcissism maybe was very close with the other family members of the malignant narcissist. And maybe there's all kinds of, extended family involved. Well, if there's a split or a divorce between a malignant narcissist and their significant other, it's almost like a divorce of the whole family. No matter what the relationship, no matter if children are involved, it doesn't matter. Because once again, this takes place because the malignant narcissist is splitting. They're splitting themselves again. Their family members become, the good guys, so to speak, and they just highlight and they talk about how much they value their family and we're so close, and the ex is now the scapegoat, and this is the person that's trying to cause problems in the family. Maybe the ex has zero desire to cause any problems at all, but the malignant narcissist cannot have people communicating without their presence, because then they can't twist and control the truth. So they talk to their family members in a covert triangulation way by making them feel as if it's a form of protection, that they're protecting the family, that this person has ill intentions. And because of this person, we can't have them involved in the family. So the family's put here, and the ex and any children or extended family members are the ones that are scapegoated and devalued and ignored. And I say this is done covertly because the family members, they don't want any problems. They don't want to get involved in any difficulties, and they're not trying to, divorce the other extended family members. But they're spoken to in a way as if there's some kind of loyalty, as if they would be disloyal if they were to have any kinds of relationships with extended family members of the ex. And so it's kind of confusing because they don't have anything against the other party or the other party's family members, but it's instilled in them that there's something wrong if they actually do something without the presence of the person that's triangulating. Okay, that's why I say it's covert. You don't realize you're being triangulated. Okay, so those are the three scenarios. What can you do about it? When it comes to siblings, I usually get one sibling in my face-to-face coaching, right? It's either the scapegoat or the golden child. 8 times out of 10, it's the scapegoat that comes for coaching. But I do get many individuals that were the golden child and they realized what was going on and they woke up first. Okay, so what I see happen a lot is that the person that realizes what happened, they realize why they have such a bad relationship with their sibling, they realize all the manipulation by the parent, they are dying to share this with the other sibling. And it backfires a lot because it's almost too much. Trying to convince the other sibling of what the toxic parent really is, or what disorder they have, or why things are the way they are, isn't always as easy as you may think. Oftentimes that other child still hasn't seen it. And if they've been trained to view you as, the problem, they're not going to be, open arms when it comes to hearing this information. So as happy as you are to finally understand these dynamics, rather than trying to convince the other party of what's going on, just be the example. Allow what you've learned to change you, and then hopefully the other sibling may be curious. You may be able to open up conversations that start talking about how you're changing and how you're growing. And when you do it like that, it's a lot easier for the other sibling to kind of digest it. They don't feel like they're being forced to change their views of something. They don't feel like, you're trying to convince them of something that they don't believe in. They're just being an eyewitness to your change. and it's a lot easier. When it comes to that platonic third friend that the malignant narcissist is drawing into your lives, and trust me, I know this is painful, but when you accept the reality, which is not easy, when you swallow that truth pill and you realize that it's all about hurting you. So something that helped me in this situation was when I realized the truth to this, right? And it took me a while, but when I finally realized the truth that this had nothing to do with me, and that this was being done intentionally so that I felt pain, I let go of being so hyper-vigilant to watching what was taking place. And let's say you're at a place with a bunch of people where you're trying to have a good time, but you don't understand what's going on. So what happens when you're being triangulated in this situation? Well, your mind is on what he or she is doing. Wow, look at how much attention. Oh my goodness. He or she won't dance with me, but they're dancing with this person. Wow, they don't compliment me, but they're complimenting that person. They don't do this with me, but they're doing that with that person. And your focus is so on this person and what they are or are not doing that not only is it taking away from your happiness, but it's also blinding you to opportunities that you might have to be able to enjoy yourself. So let go of what he or she is doing and go do something that you're happy about, that makes you feel good. If you want to dance, go dance. If you want to talk to somebody, find somebody in that situation that you enjoy being around and focus on that and enjoy the present moment. I'm not saying this is going to change the other person. And I think that's where a lot of people that are healing go wrong. They're always looking for something to change the other person. But it's not about changing them. It's not your job. It's not your responsibility. And people only change when they want to change. But it is about changing you, because when you change your focus and you start doing things that you enjoy, you will feel a difference on the inside. Again, a lot of healing, you'll notice with this video and a lot of my other videos, a lot of healing has to do with letting go. Letting go of what you can and can't control. Letting go of how people choose to respond to these manipulative behaviors. You know about them. You know how to not get sucked into them, but you can't convince somebody else. So if there are extended family members that are choosing to believe whatever stories, whatever covert stories are being told so that they stay away, you have to let go of trying to expose the truth. Focus on your life. Focus on creating a circle of support where you feel uplifted. People that you don't have to convince. They're just there for you. Focus your time and attention on building and maintaining those healthy relationships. And yes, it's sad. And yes, you'll have to go through like a mourning and a grieving of what was lost if there was a split in that relationship. A large part of healing is grieving what we thought we were going to get, or what we lost, what we hoped for. We have to grieve all of that and then continue to focus on the relationships that we do have. If all of our focus goes on the relationships that the malignant narcissist has manipulated from our lives, then that's only going to keep us in an emotional state that keeps us down. Focus your attention on the relationships that you do have now. So if you put those tips into practice, yes, the toxic person is going to keep on triangulating. That's reality. But you will have broken out of it, and you will feel different when you break free of the dynamics of that triangulation.